Welcome everyone to Dr. Carolyn Dean's RnA ReSet Drops webinar. Yes, it is the revealing of the mysteries of the RnA drops, and we're so glad that you're here with us. Before we get started, we want to give a little quick love shout out to those in the Florida Panhandle and throughout North Carolina, Georgia, and other states who are being affected by Hurricane Michael right now. It's been a crazy hurricane season here. And of course, we're all doing well and everything's fine. But we just want to be cognizant of the fact that while we're celebrating this extraordinary product and its potential to change environments and balance all kinds of things, we are having a changing environment out there. So much love to the people involved in Hurricane Michael. All right, now, I want to just tell you a little bit about Dr. Carolyn Dean in case this is the very first time you've ever heard of her. Dr. Carolyn Dean is a medical doctor and a naturopath. She's been in the natural medicine world and the regular allopathic medicine world, as she would call it, for the last 50 years, alternating between the both. And she is a beautiful hybrid of all of it, including herbalism, and she does acupuncture, and she's very much involved with energy medicine and homeopathy. She is a master of the alchemy of the body, the mind, and the spirit. And she puts her alchemy in such tremendous ways that she's able to create formulas, protocols, and options for people to be able to use them to balance their own health, their own joy, and their own vibrancy. The RnA drops have an amazing story. Dr. Dean, once again, very much ahead of her time with this product. And we're going to sit back and listen to her as she regales us with the story of how they came to be, what they are known to do, and how they will benefit you. So without any further ado, Dr. Carolyn Dean, welcome this afternoon.
Thank you, Ginny, and thank you so much for, as you say, giving the love shout out. And
further ado, Dr.
I'm just getting some feedback there, but I'm sure we'll take care of it. Yes, thanks for the love shout out to the people who are suffering the effects of Hurricane Michael. And I want to give a shout out as well to the volunteers in America. I'm a Canadian, but Bob and I got our American citizenship a couple of years ago, and American volunteerism is incredible. And I think that's what keeps the country going. And it is crises like this that do bring the best out in people and keep us away from crazy distractions. So heaven forbid that we have to keep creating crises so that people can show their best side. But thank you. So what we're doing with slide number 2 here, Chad's going to be advancing the slides for us. The I cell, which is the main quote ingredient in the RnA ReSet Drops, came out of the immortal D cell. Now get this, Bob and I learned about the D cell in 1969. It was called a personal water purifier, but it's much more. It is a living catalyst. And at the time, in the many years we used it, we thought it was slowing our aging process. Over the years, it was Mr. Brown, I think he was a pharmacist, and then Dory, and then Joe Dunn Sloan, who were making this, quote, D-cell. All it was is grains that were allowed to ferment in water. And then at a certain point, I guess, and we lived with Joe Dunn Sloan for a while in California. We saw this process. We saw under a microscope these cells with a radiant light in the center. And then come to April 22nd, 1991, Joe gave me the formula, the recipe for creating the D-cell. Over the years, I tried many times to make it. Then in 2009, what we say is a friend who had, as they say in the Bible, gifts of the Spirit, including knowledge, told Bob and I how to perfect the recipe. And it went from this grain water mixed in cement, put in ice cube trays. It went from the size of an ice cube to a 400-pound block. In the next slide, I talk about the D-cell project being taken over by a very industrious, a very brilliant friend who we couldn't grow a 400-pound, what we call eye block in our garage. So this friend took over and then developed a factory, and come to find out that the workers in the factory began to unexpectedly feel healthier and happier. So we were making a water purifier. We weren't making a healthy, happy pill. So over the next year or so, we experimented with the squeezed out drops from these grains. And by this time, we were just using barley. We experimented on a lot of people, found some amazing results, and we'll get to that further on. We called the liquid RnA Drops, and it's now in its 144th generation. And at this pivotal point, we're renaming the drops RnA ReSet Drops, because we are resetting the whole body with all our formulas. In the next slide, we have a video by Sheila Kern, who's an artist who designed the RnA logo. Behind her in her video, you'll see her amazing artwork. So I'll let Sheila explain her creative journey in this video. So Chad will go ahead and dial up the video.
What exactly is in this bottle? I'm Sheila Kern. I'm a fine art painter and graphic artist. I was asked by Dr. Carolyn Dean and the team behind the creation of the RnA ReSet Drops to create the iconography and logo for their label. My role as an artist is to capture and portray the essence of the unseen and the unknown. Art, archetype, and symbolism transmit and bring into individual awareness your own knowing. Art is a force to create new outcomes, experience, and adventure. The same can be said of the RnA Drops. Since my original design of the first icon years ago, 144 generations of the RnA Drops have been created, marking the completion of the first phase of the drops. To execute and launch into the second phase, I was asked to update the image and essence, bringing forth the components in an evolving way. Symbols bypass the mind and connect us with our knowing. I use 5 separate elements in the design of the RnA ReSet Drops icon to reveal the nature of the product within. Each of these come together as an overall image of a Corinthian column capital, a steadfast symbol of strength. A Corinthian column is a symbol of victory and can be used to commemorate success. Within the synergistic whole are 5 singular elements that can also stand on their own. I began with the acanthus leaf. The motif of this plant had first been used by the Greeks in the 5th century BC, representing enduring and eternal life as well as rebirth, and also in the RnA ReSet icon as an element of nature in all its force and power. The second image is a scroll, which has long been an artifact and symbol of civilization as a means of conveying laws, knowledge, and other information. Here the scroll also points to the RnA ReSet Drops recipe and the record of its endless generations. The overall shape of the icon is that of a triangle. The triangle here represents the trinity of the physical, non-physical, and the labyrinth of the mind. It can also be read as an inverted pyramid, symbolizing the chalice holding the living water, and also the relationship between God and man, with the connection from God to earth, the Holy Spirit descending to man. Next is a fleur-de-lis. Historically denoting French heraldry, the fleur-de-lis has retained an association with nobility and royalty. But ye are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, and holy nation. It is also a symbol of life, light, and perfection. Finally, the angel's wings, which speak of assistance from heavenly realms in all aspects of life, health, emotions, and circumstance, bringing clarity and guidance. The perfect companion to this icon is a genie lamp, where you go to make all your wishes come true. Within the genie lamp is the unlimited potential of desire, just like a never-ending supply of oil. The jar of flour will not run out, and the bottle of oil will not become empty. All these elements come together to inform you of the unrivaled and exceptional product inside this bottle. How exciting that this force for new outcomes is available for you in the palm of your hand.
Fabulous. Just fabulous. So we have that just buoying us up, just our grounding in as Ginny said at the outset, the mystery of these RNA reset drops. But in the next slide that Chad will put up, we have to think about where's the science? Where's the proof? Because that's what many folks will say to us. Perhaps 75% of the people that use the RNA reset drops, they'll just feel intuitively that they want to use them. They'll kind of feel vibrationally, they'll feel a frequency, and they just want to get involved. But where's the science? We have a living catalyst that allows you to experience bliss and detachment. How can you possibly study or prove that? Where's the proof about any drug or remedy on the market? I could say, instead of doing $1 billion study, and because we can't make any claims, we do rely on testimonials. We have looked at the Zyto machine. It turns out that a lot of practitioners using our products, they will use the Zyto machine. I'll talk about that more in a minute. Or they'll do muscle testing. As I said, intuitive knowing, people are drawn to it. But then we also did a farm experiment, and I'll talk about that later as well. But let's look at the next slide where I look at the Zyto machine experience. We did RNA drops and complement formula seminar to a group of doctors in 2013 in Chicago, and someone brought along their Zyto machine. It's an FDA approved machine used by a lot of medical pioneers. It scans the electrical output from your body over and over again. You hold a rod that's attached to the machine, and each tissue having a different frequency, then the machine can measure the frequencies in your various tissues. The machine displays out of range stressors that indicate typical patterns of dis-ease. And what we found out is that the RNA drops balance most, if not all, of these out-of-range stressors after just taking a few drops. Now, we didn't even plan this experiment. This was just off the cuff, and everyone was pretty elated about that. And then we look at the eye cell itself. This is a picture representing the eye cells. We did do a preliminary patent on the eye cell. You can actually Google that and see the incredible intricacy that we follow to make the eye cell, to make the RNA reset drops. As I said, the main ingredient is barley grain. The next slide goes over some of the steps. We follow GMP regulations. This FDA 21 CFR is the code of federal regulations. It's a barley germination process. We use some clover seeds, some pepper seeds, live yeast sponge, and it has homeopathic aspects. Homeopathy, I'm going to be talking a lot more about homeopathy actually as we go along, not in this webinar, but in general, because as I've discussed in my latest radio shows, the ownership of most of the natural product companies that I used to referred to are now owned by large mega corporations. They're traded on the stock market. So I have great doubts about their quality. So homeopathy is something I studied in my naturopathic medical training, how it's affecting our RNA drops. I'll show you in a second, but there's the homeopathic aspect, the generational aspect. In the Bible, they talk about how important the generations are, going back this many generations, going forward that many generations. Ginny can get into this more when she takes over. But we've made these RNA ReSet Drops 144 times. And in batch number 144, there is material from batch number 1. Every batch has been taken and put into the next batch so that there's a harmonic going back to 2009 when we started to make these drops. This is why no one can ever mimic the RnA ReSet Drops. And we love the number 22, and it happens to be a 22-day process. In the next slide, I show you the 2 barley seed germinating drums that we use. These rotate over a number of days, and it's this type of rotation that in homeopathy we call succussion, where you're banging usually just a small bottle of either just water or lactose pellets. You're succussing it, we say, to distribute the energetics throughout the remedy. Now, we're not making homeopathic RnA ReSet Drops, but it is quite interesting, this constant rotation that goes on to create our incredible RnA ReSet Drops. In the next slide, we try to answer the question about the RnA ReSet Drops being gluten-free. Well, they're expected to be gluten positive because they're made with barley seeds, but out of 144 generations, 142 have been gluten-free. But because of those minor exceptions, we do have to state on our label that they could be gluten positive. But so many people who have been gluten sensitive in the past, they're taking the RnA drops without any problem. And the RnA barley powder that we use in Restructure, and now in 2 new products, our Whole Seed Reset and our Flora Revive, is always gluten-free. So we just wanted to mention that. The next slide, the farm project. I get involved with a biodynamic organic farm here in Maui, and part of my volunteerism is to donate money or projects or products or equipment, in this case, to worthy people, worthy projects. And in the case of the farm project, I started donating a tractor. I'll show the tractor in a couple of slides. So what we did with this farm project, Ginny sent over one of her amazing workers, Houston, to oversee the project. And what we used was the waste material from pressing the barley sprouts with a hydraulic press, pressing out the juice from the barley sprouts. And that juice is our RnA ReSet Drops. But this fibrous material is still saturated with eye cells, so we saved every bit of it from the 144 generations. And this is our RnA mash. And in the next slide, we did the radish experiment. Well, Chad, just before the webinar started, he said they look plastic. They're so awesome. And I said, yes, they're so they look synthetic. They're so natural. I mean, this is our radish experiment. The next quick slide is is the tractor that we have 2 tractors on the farm now. So this is one of the tractors. It's from Italy because the land that we have is hilly, and heaven forbid farm tractor accidents occur when you're turning on a hill and the tractor is just so top heavy it falls over. But what happens with this tractor is the cab swivels so that when you come down here hill, you swivel around. The next slide, this is a video. Chad will start up the video and I'll talk about it. This video shows the several rows of the MASH plot. We call it the RNA MASH, as I said. We put handfuls of MASH under the soil before putting the seeds in the ground. And you can see these are all really healthy looking, robust plants, lots of leaves, just an awesome display of nature at its finest. And that's the end of the slide, the video there. The next video is the control plot. And this, there was a space between the MASH plot and the control plot. So back to the control plot, Chad will start that video. So as I go along here, I'm taking this video. You can see the empty places. You can see less robust plants. The leaves are kind of, well, motley and weak looking. It just does not look like a healthy plot of land. And that's the end of that video. And the next slide, we go to the control plot. This is what we found in these radishes, wormy radishes. And in the next slide, which is the MASH radish slide, this is the MASH radishes. And you will be stunned to know that the MASH radish plot produced 85 pounds of perfect saleable radishes. And the wormy control plot, Chad, if you could back up to that slide just for effect and the drum roll, the wormy control plot produced 3 pounds of radishes that were saleable. 3 pounds versus 85 pounds. And jumping ahead to the next 2 slides, the MASH plot, this is the first week, the end of the first week, no weeds. The next slide, the control plot, you could barely find the rows of radishes for the weeds. And the following slide, I'm saying why the amazing results. Now, I want you to memorize this slide, folks. This is awesome. Insects, worms, bacteria, and weeds are only programmed to attack weak, dying, or dead life forms. Humans, animals, or plants are surrounded by invaders and only succumb when they are in a weakened state. RnA ReSet infused the radishes with life and energy and made them incompatible with the organisms looking to cull out the weak plants. And that is exactly what happens to humans as well. How many times have you heard about all the microorganisms, the trillions, and so many more than even the cells in our body, and they're just waiting there. A lot of them are waiting there for us to become weak and sick, and they will start attacking from within. That's why I've been talking about yeast overgrowth for decades. And this is why we want people to have the catalytic effect of the RNA drops, to have the building blocks of the minerals, to have the very awesome detoxification of the realign and the protein powder with our restructure. I mean, we totally know what we're doing here. And it's finally with the farm experiment that we can offer this to you as our science behind what we're doing. Over the years, definitely we've had people saying to us and ourselves, we've been using the RNA drops on plants and seeing how robust they become. But this was a true experiment that just totally blew the farmers away. We kind of knew, but 85 pounds versus 3 pounds, I mean, forget about it. So now I'm too overcome to continue. I'm going to turn over to Ginny, who will fill in the blanks, things that I forgot to say, look at the chat line, see if we have questions to answer, and continue on because we have another 15 slides to show you. Ginny, off you go.
Yeah, very good. Very good. Okay. Well, Carolyn, I think that was great. And I love what you summarized at the end, and that about the weakness, about being in a weakened state. And that's when you're up to attack. And so many times we've seen over and over again how in our human state that we are not subject to the things that our peers, our friends, other people are subject to. As they use the RNA drops over the course of many years. So it's exciting. If you take the drops, you do have this expectation that you're not going to have any sickness, which is wonderful. And then, if you catch a little cold, like I catch an airplane cold or something, it's like, oh gosh, darn. But then on the flip side, I know a lot of people who can't do some of the things I can do at different age brackets and things like that, because they don't have the stamina, the endurance, or whatever, and they're just not as fortified as I am. So I think it's awesome though that we are more and more fortified against the attack of our immune system with the RNA drops. And this MASH experiment definitely proves it. And what's interesting is the MASH isn't even the drops.
Exactly. It's our waste product, for Pete's sakes.
Right. It's like trash. So it's not even the full concentration of the RNA drops that we're referring to in the experiment. Now, let me ask you before we jump off of this topic, are you doing more farm experiments?
Yes, the farmers are continuing. They were so impressed. They're continuing. They've done a spinach experiment and they found they got greater yield. What happens in these farms? They try to be organic, but they have to use a lot of organic fertilizers, organic pesticides. They know they have worms in the soil. So they did not put any of their regular, very expensive amendments on the control plot. And what we're hoping is with these small farmers, we can just give them the mash and they'll have healthy plants and won't have to use the gazillions of dollars of other products to get crops that they can sell.
Right. I thought the thing that was interesting to me about it was that it is a biodynamic farm, and this ground has been cultivated for years. And it's not like I just threw some radishes in my backyard. This soil has been prepared specifically for high yield crops because he is a farmer and he sells at markets and things. He sells to restaurants. So, just the economics of the yield of it was what was so fascinating to me, that here he was doing the very best of what he thought he could do. And here came the RnA ReSet Drops mash and just elevated it. And I think that's another thing that the drops do, is they definitely do elevate your game. They elevate your body. They elevate your mind. They elevate your expectation for sure. I mean,
Mhm.
who would run around on the face of this earth expecting not to be sick or anything like that? You know, it
Mhm.
just even at elevating your expectations. So awesome, awesome, awesome.
Yes, and Ginny and Greg were there for the start of the experiment. We really put a lot into this experiment. We we never have expectations. We always, I guess, expect the best, expect to live forever, expect all that. But I don't think I expected 85 pounds versus 3 pounds. I was just so blown away and so happy. So thank you to everyone who did that. And Ginny, any questions from the chat, or do you want to just continue on?
A couple of questions. One of them, somebody's asking, will the drops help out with autonomic dysfunction? They sound amazing regardless, but just wondering if they would help with autonomic dysfunction.
Well, of course, we're not allowed to say what they do. Seriously, the FDA does not want us making any claims. What we say is um, and what we observe is that they go to the priorities in the body and they help to elevate that. That's the word that Ginny just used. So some people will say, well, I'm going to take them and they're going to help my autonomic system. Well, what if there's something else in your body that wants to be elevated before that? You see, we try to kind of overcome nature and overcome our bodies. We try to tell our bodies what to do. What our philosophy is to give the building blocks, to give the catalyst, which is the RNA drops, and just step back. Ginny's going to go into the relax and allow. Once you get the gist of what we're doing here, and in a sense, yeah, we're trying to talk you into something, but we're just very excited because we know what it can do. But you may be skeptical and you don't bother with it. You may think this is awesome. I'm going to give it a try and let my body see what it can do. You may be totally cynical and say, well, I'm going to try them, but they're not going to work. Well, maybe they won't. Maybe they will just magnify where a person is at. And when a person is at the stage where, well, I'm happy where I am, but I want more. This is the type of person that I think does well on any quote healing program. If you start a program and say, I'm so mad, I'm so just pissed off at the world, at medicine, at my family, I'm just mad at the world, but I'm going to take these things and they better make me better. I mean, this is not the attitude that your body wants you to express. So anyway, I'll let you go on, Ginny.
Okay. Now, let's just say Nicholas in South Africa typed in and said, we've been soaking the seeds that we sow in RNA drops before we put those seeds in the ground and has seen similar results. Growth of plants has been outstanding and so delicious. And also our good friend Jan from Norway is listening in today, Carolyn, and he said that he would love to help do some testing on the drops as well. So I thought that was very sweet of Jan to say that. And then also Doug Tidwell said, the effect of colds and flu are no longer debilitating to me. I feel great, have tons of energy and sleep like a baby. I'm loving life with the products from Dr. Dean, just loving life. So that's very sweet. And one of the things that somebody else asked is, I travel sometimes, I miss weeks of taking the RNA drops. What is your experience with consistency with the drops? What do you think about that, Carolyn?
Well, this just leapt in my head. I would say if you're also taking some restructure, it has the RNA drops powder in it. So perhaps that just keeps things going. And when you get our vitamin C and our Flora Revive probiotic, if you skip some time of taking the RNA drops, you'll keep the kind of frequency going. But as Ginny said, we're talking about a much higher concentration with the RnA ReSet Drops. So we don't want you to stop taking them just in favor of the other products. So just take restructure when you travel. It shouldn't be a problem. What do you think, Jenny?
Yeah, I agree completely. I mean, people come in and come out. I mean, we've been doing this for many, many years now. I've got customers that I met in 2012. Oh, they take the drops for a little bit and then they pop out, something distracts them, and they pop back in and they say, oh, I missed him. And then they pop out, then they pop back in, and then they're like, this time I'm here to stay. And, you know, it's great. And we don't worry about any of those things, because it's up to your own knowing, your own sense of yourself. They're definitely an accelerator on many, many levels, and people know when they need a boost. And some people wouldn't miss a day, you know, like they would crawl through broken glass to get their drops. And I know a lot of people like that, including myself. So then you've got that part of it. So, you know, you just have to kind of weigh out what's going to be best for you. But absolutely, Carolyn, and I was thinking, you know, just to have the eye cells in the Flora Revive, and just based on what you even said, you know, here in the gut, in that level of concentration, you know, and providing that life force energy and setting a standard against the decay and everything that goes on in the gut, I think is just, I mean, super, super, super amazing. Super amazing.
Right. Oh yeah, we're so blessed. And,
Oh my gosh.
and I think of what Bob says on his radio show. He says, you're not going to ascend unless you take the RNA drops. So there's that aspect too, for those of us who we're not on this 3D planet to just live two-dimensional lives. We want ascension. And if that sounds crazy, fine, but that's what we're doing. Right, Jenny?
That's what I'm doing for sure. I got my ball cap at a team meeting the other night in my parallel world, so I'm good to go.
Awesome.
Okay, so listen, let's move on to the next slide, because here's another thing that's just so much fun about the RnA ReSet Drops. And in the beginning, we called them the Relax and Allow Drops. And that is RnA, Relax and Allow. It's a double play against also RnA, ribonucleic acid. And that shows the dimensionality of the drops. You can go for the straight biological, physical result. And I think the Garden Project proves once and for all that there is no mind required for the RnA drops to work. There's a biological reality that their contribution and their life force energy that can't be denied even by radishes. So got that piece right there. But then on the other part of who we are, we know we are as much non-physical as we are physical. We know our mind plays just as much in our health, and our sense of humor plays as much in our health. I mean, even the most allopathetic people will acknowledge the fact that the mind and your expectation, your attitude does impact healing. And so the Relax and Allow drops, the way of stating that is to say that if you have emotional conflicts that you've had for a long time in your life, you have persistent feelings of unworthiness and limiting beliefs that you've been negotiating with for many, many years, the RnA ReSet Drops are a way to kind of clean the slate on that. And Dr. Candace Pert did an incredible work on the molecules of emotion and showed how the peptides on the receptor sites in the cells were affected by emotion, which again includes expectancy, what to expect when you're expecting. It includes that hopefulness. It includes the joy. It includes that sense of peace. It includes being able to take an action. And when you've come to the end of your self and you just don't know what to do anymore, you're puzzled about something. Maybe it's your finances, maybe it's your relationships, maybe it is your body, and you just don't know what to do. You can dedicate the RnA drops to that aspect of your energy field, to your life, and say, you know what, I'm going to take the drops for 2 weeks, and I'm going to ask my non-physical, with these drops, help to work out these blocks in my energy field and to release these places where I feel stuck. This is totally responsible and absolutely positively able to happen. And I remember in the beginning when I first started working as an affiliate doing the RnA ReSet Drops, at that time, one of the main obstacles people, when people always throw up a lot of obstacles, the excuse I don't have any time is usually related to relationships, and the one I don't have any money is usually related to worthiness. Because people who have a lot of self-confidence and a lot of self-worth know their value, and they know that they should be invested in. And people who do not have a lot of self-worth and put everybody before them and question their own existence don't usually think they're worthy of being invested in. And so, people would say, well, I really want to get them, but they're, quote unquote, too expensive. And I would say, well, hey, listen, do this. Just get a sample bottle, start using them, and see if your money doesn't change in, say 30, 60, 90 days. And invariably it did. The RnA drops have a very unique adaptation to the energy field of the person. And that's the one thing we can't prove. All we know is anecdotally, for years and years of hearing all the testimonials about what's available for people and what our own personal experience is, we know that that's what happens. And the unique properties of the RnA drops do allow the brain to create new relationships through the peptide receptor functions in the cells of the brain. And like I said, we've seen it over and over again. And for me, coming to the RnA drops as a pastor and also a life coach, wanting to be able to see people transcend their limiting beliefs, transcend their lifestyle choices, transcend their past, and come into a new place of purpose, a new level of awareness, a new level of understanding, a new level of competence. That was my desire. And so when the RnA drops were presented to me, the RnA ReSet Drops, I was like, yeah, I'm in 100%. And I couldn't wait to see that effect happening for others. And that's exactly what happened. So the way that you can do that, again, is individual. It's unique. We have tons of testimonials that we'll share with everybody about how people have applied it in their lives. But it is available for you, and it is an absolute possibility that you can have the same experience with them. Okay, going on to the next slide, Chad. The other thing that we have RnA drops oriented is the Renew serum. And Renew is a concentration, a 25% concentration of the RnA ReSet Drops. And this is our beautiful new packaging, which we're so happy with. And we wanted to, as Sheila said, do bring out the purpose of the icon, the iconography, to accentuate our label and to make people aware, of the life force that is behind these products. And I think our new packaging does that really beautifully. The Renew is another extraordinary product with lots of testimonials and lots of opportunities for people to improve their skin, to improve their, people have used it on their gums because it is a food. It's just got the RnA ReSet Drops, ozonated olive oil, and a little dab of rose oil in it. They've used it in their mouth. They've used it on their face. They've used it on their body. They've used it on bruises. They've used it on all kinds of nasty things like pilonidal cysts. And it all just takes care of itself and goes away and keeps people looking vibrant and healthy and wonderful. So here's another tremendous thing that the RnA drops will do, is what it will do topically for the skin. And that opportunity, again, being realized for many, many years, tons of anecdotal stories. And again, not to make any claims, you have to try it for yourself, but it's something that's available for you should you desire to do that. And Carolyn, I think we're working a little bit with the Renew to also do a different type of product with that. Yes?
Yes. We'll create a scrub and a cream. So that's our project for 2019. I'm working on it right now. So that's really fun. We're saving lives with the other products, and now we're going to save our skin. Right, Ginny?
Yes, that's exactly correct. That is exactly correct. Okay, and let me also just say, somebody was asking about the RnA drops. I'm looking at the chat line too, and they're asking that the RnA drops are thick, and to the point where they're saying they don't even know how many drops to take. Carolyn, do you want to talk about how to thin out your drops?
Yes, that can be with distilled water, it can be with Remag liquid. I think those are the two main things that we use. It's just a lot of people, they don't look at the label and say, we say to shake well when you use it. People aren't shaking it, so it'll build up thick in the bottle as maybe some of the water dehydrates. Shake it and add water or Remag liquid.
Okay, very good. And the RNA drops can definitely be taken with all the other formulas, Remag, Remite, Realign, all of our formulas. That's the total body reset. They're all compatible. I'm going to talk about that in just a minute. And they absolutely are not contraindicated for any drug. There's no conflict with the RNA drops and any kind of a drug whatsoever. They are a completely natural, organic product. They have no drug interaction concerns whatsoever. It's never been an issue in the 144 generations we've been distributing the RNA drops. Okay, Chad, on the next slide. One of the things that people say about Renew is it is like putting food on your face, meaning it's very nourishing. And it is very clean smelling. The effects of getting it into and on the body. And also it is what one person said, I use Renew every day. It's my armor. It has really assisted me with my previous knee challenges because Renew can also be used topically. And so you can use it if you're having inflammation in a particular place. It's fantastic for bruising. If you whack yourself while you're running through your house and you get a big welt or a bruise on your knee, you throw some Renew on it and that thing will just take care of itself. It's really beautiful that way. Okay, next slide, Chad. Okay, so we're going to run through some of the RNA drops testimonials that we've had over the years for human beings. It says RNA drops testimonials humans because this is different than the farm project. And we wanted to create that distinction. But again, I'm just going to touch on a few of these. You can read them as you're watching the webinar. But some of the things that are happening, one thing is a consistent report that we get is of people having increased energy. More stamina, better recovery at the gym, lifting weights easier. The skin is one of the first areas that the RNA drops positively impact. And the mouth, the skin, circulation, respiration, elimination, all those systems are very positively impacted by the RNA drops. Also scarring. Scarring can be greatly diminished or scars can disappear. And also stiffness, just general, crunchiness. It can smooth out your experience. Next slide, please, Chad. I thought this was so sweet. When I was running through some of these with Carolyn, I work in a lab in a coal mine, and I just don't worry about toxins anymore on the RNA drops. In fact, I don't worry about anything anymore. The RNA drops must be changing my immediate environment. Apart from being surrounded by cold, the land is like a desert with nothing growing. But now I have tomatoes outside of my lab. They've just turned red and everybody's scratching their heads. This is a great testimonial for the RNA drops because one of the things that Carolyn always talks about is the difference between, just surviving and adapting. And we are in a tremendous change in our world. Obviously, everybody knows it. Weather patterns, environmental factors, all kinds of things going on. Even politics is changing. Personal relationships are changing. Gender identity is changing. Everything is in a constant state of flux. And what we're saying is that the RNA drops help adapt. They just smooth out the mind and allow it to be a little bit more detached about how things are going till you can land into your next spot, kind of make that transition. So here's a guy working in a coal mine thinking that, where everybody would be kind of like, ooh, and instead the whole environment is changing and the beauty is growing up around him and even producing edible fruit of his labor. I mean, it's just an incredible, incredible metaphor for the drops, and it's somebody's actual experience. Next slide, Chad. I fell and hit my head in the bathtub and I looked like Frankenstein. I was going to put arnica on it, but instead I applied the RNA drops and woke up this morning and the swelling's gone. That's another perfect never mind. Just relax and allow. Hit it with some drops, hit it with some Renew, and go about your business and let the body just do its wonderful healing work. Next slide. And this is a testimonial that came in October. It said, on RnA Drops since April, I had a cavity in the center of a molar, and now it is completely healed. And you know, a lot of people say that bones don't grow back, especially in the teeth, in the mouth. But we've had a lot of reports of healing of mouth. As a matter of fact, the RnA Drops, one of the very first places it does impact is the mouth, because you're holding them in your mouth, under your tongue for, say, 10 to 15. Some people hold them for 30 seconds. And it's giving that energy, that opportunity to work. And it's giving the eye cell an opportunity to work. We have a lot of healed teeth and total healed gums, tooth abscesses, hot pockets. I mean, the whole shooting match with the RnA ReSet Drops. Cut a finger and put 2 drops of blood on a piece of glass. The blood didn't coagulate for 3 hours. Wow, that's cool. A friend had a bad neck pain and put Renew on it, and it was gone after 15 to 20 minutes. Again, that beautiful synergy between the biological aspect of the RnA Drops, the eye cell, and then the vibrational aspect, the homeopathic aspect of the RnA Drops as well. Next slide. A lifetime of chronic asthma and asthma drugs, 50 years of serious wheezing and getting himself to the ER, and stopped 2 months into taking the RnA Drops. The first month, there was a lot of emotional clearing and a big decrease in allergic reactions. And then after that, I wasn't reacting to preservatives and wine. Occasional beasts of bread wasn't giving me bloating. No more waking up wheezing. In the last 2 months, I've dropped all the steroids and antihistamines. That alone has made a vast difference. I am no longer bloated and have lost weight. I mean, I think that, again, is extraordinary. Steroids are just horrible. And if it's a bronchial steroid, it's probably prednisone nightmare. I mean, just, you know, that in and of itself, like they said, that alone has made a vast difference. And if you haven't had a chronic health condition or some kind of a long-standing health challenge, you know, it may not be really something that you can resonate with, the value of having that disappear from your experience. But boy, if you can kick something like that to the curb, it is amazing. And just so wonderful to be able to do that. Again, without drugs or devices. I mean, that's the beauty of what we're doing. No drugs and no devices. Fantastic. Okay, next slide. I've been taking RnA Drops for over a year. My muscles, which have toned up remarkably all over, and I have the best physique of my 48 years. Complete eradication of 30 years of knee joint pain, also neck and shoulders. I no longer experience poor circulation, which led to tingly fingers, ice cold hands, even in the summertime. I no longer suffer any sunburn. This is amazing, as I am naturally fair skinned. Now, I will say that too, living in the Carolinas, we're exposed to a lot of sun, and incredible what the Renew will do to prevent sun damage and also sunburn. There have been a lot of definite improvements in sight, hearing, taste, teeth, gums, skin, nails, stamina, and strength. I would recommend them to anyone. Just take them and give them a chance to work their magic on you. Oh, that's sweet. That's very, very cool. Very cool. Absolutely. Okay, next slide, please. Oh yeah, and here's another one. I badly burned my hand on the stove at 6 p.m. I ran to the sink to get cold water on it. It looked like cooked chicken in several spots. When I started to feel faint, my husband took me to the ER. The doctor said it was a 2nd-degree burn and gave me a prescription for cream once the blisters broke open. So at home, I put the RnA Drops in cold water and my hand immediately felt better. I soaked my hand all evening. I couldn't sleep at first, so I kept getting up to put my hand in the cold RnA water. I woke up just after midnight. There was no pain at all in my hand. I smiled and rolled over and slept the rest of the night. The next day, it looked really good. I soaked my hand off and on all weekend. By Monday, you couldn't even tell that I had burned it. I never had any pain after that first evening. I don't even understand the mechanism, and I don't know, maybe Carolyn does, of how that works, but I have picked up scalding hot pans, Carolyn, and my hands do not burn. What do you think that is about the drops?
Someone said the armor. It is an
Ah,
armor.
very good.
Yeah, I'm sure there's more to it, but I'll just say that it's our armor.
Yeah, that's very, very good. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's just fascinating too when you have that experience and you just like, what's going on? This should hurt, and it doesn't. Okay, excellent. Next slide, Chad. I have suffered from panic disorder and depression for many years and have taken many different medications. When I received the RNA drop sample, I wasn't sure what to expect, and I just said, here we go. Now, everybody's telling me that I look great and ask what I'm doing. They say I look very rested, and that's a plus. I am really happy because I have had a heavy weight lifted off of me. I now feel strong enough to slowly discontinue medicine. It's amazing. I've never felt like this. It is like I've changed from the inside out, and I have found new strength. And that is another glorious testimonial. Doesn't happen for everybody. We're not saying it's a cure for anything. We're just saying that these are people's experiences, and it shows the range of what we talked about earlier. And our friend Jan in Norway, Carolyn, said that the Zyto machine may not be a reliable evaluation, but I think this is a perfect example that the RNA drops do balance out of balance stressors in the body. And what stresses out the body is incredible, the dynamics of what the body has to manage. And whether it's, we've heard all the symptomology from the different mineral deficiencies, yeast overgrowth, there's the emotional conflict that people are under that they don't even know, on and on. And if the RNA drops can go in with their power and their strength and just gradually, start to pull back in some of these really out of range stressors and bring some balance back in. That's what we're looking for, is balance, homeostasis. That's where the body is optimal. And that's what the RNA drops seem to be able to help to accomplish. Next slide, Chad. I wish the RNA drops. Oh, I remember this gal. She was so precious. Well, she is so precious. I shouldn't say was. She is so precious. I wish the RNA drops were around 35 years ago. I believe they are the answer to anxiety and stress. My husband has been suffering with these symptoms most of his adult life. After only 3 days of using the RNA drops, I could see changes in him that I haven't seen using other products. After 6 weeks of use, he is calmer. He has confidence in the things that would normally be a trigger for him, and the things that used to affect him no longer did the way they once did. Plus, we are getting along better than we have in many years. I never want to be without the RNA drops. Thank you for bringing them into the world. And this gal, Vera, just the sweetest person in the whole wide world. And this is what we're talking about when we're talking about how out of balance stressor cause anxiety, put pressure on a relationship. This guy's totally out of sorts. He starts working with the drops starts working in him. They elevate him, they lighten him, they bring him into a different, frequency, however you want to say it, vibration. And then Vera, bless her heart, was just the happiest woman in the whole wide world. I mean, she told me it was like she had a brand new husband. And that is amazing too. I mean, just the changes in relationships that people experience is really, really powerful. Next slide, Chad. Okay, so the RNA reset drops are the catalytic foundation of the total body reset. Our remag, our remite, our realign, our RNA reset drops, our restructure. The mineral blocks are the remag and the remite. Those are our mineral building blocks. The gentle detox with the realign, with the methylated and the food-based Bs, and that methionine precursor to glutathione and our sulfur-based taurine. You pump up your protein with the restructure, and you wrap it all up with the RNA reset drops, which is a unique living catalyst. And anybody who's taken one of our formulas or taken all of them know how powerful they are. We're in the process of sampling our vitamin C right now, and I'm telling you, it's just powerful. We don't even know how to make wimpy products, I don't think. How would we do that? Our stuff is pow to the moon, Alice. I mean, it's amazing how powerful it is. Okay. And then the next slide, Chad. And again, our beautiful packaging. Oh, that's our old picture, but you see the picture of all the formulas, the Remag, the Remite, the Restructure, Realign, and the RNA Drops. And that's the Total Body Reset Bundle. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so now we're coming up to the wrap up on the webinar. Carolyn, let me poke around and look and see if there's any questions on the chat line. But one thing I want to ask Carolyn is, do you have any things that you want to add?
Nothing comes to mind, and it's probably because as we've tried to reinforce, you have to try this stuff for yourself. You really do. People who aren't on any products, you can use it alone. If you're on all the products and you kept thinking, well, maybe not, well, we'll give you an offer so that you can't refuse, so you can try them, and then leave it up to your own body to tell you whether or not you should continue them. So yes, I think we've said it all, and we'll continue to speak about it. We'll continue to answer questions on the radio show and listen to people's experience. But yeah, the farm project for me was the way to open the door to all you folks who keep thinking, well, what's so special about the RNA drops? Where's the science? So we did it. There you have it. And we'll be doing more.
Yep, absolutely. We've got all kinds of science things going on, but what we have found too is that we cannot speak about things prematurely, because we've done that before and it always bites us in the rear. So we have to just stay the course and wait until we have our evidence in hand, our claims in hand, our things in hand. And then we can proceed out into the marketplace. But we like to talk to everybody like they're our friends. And I think, Carolyn, for the most part, we have such a wonderful, family is such a corny word, but we have such a great group of people that hang out with us all the time. And our customers, our radio fans and listeners and the Ionauts and everybody. It feels like we're just part of a huge, huge, huge global, a global community of people. And so we get so excited about things. We do want to kind of say too many things about them sometimes, but that's just because we love everybody and we're excited about what we're doing and we're excited about how it's going to be helpful. Wouldn't you say, Carolyn?
Yes, absolutely. And people can tell. They know when we speak, Ginny, that we're smiling. We're always smiling.
That's true. That's true. We are always smiling. Okay, so let me clean up a couple things. First of all, Steele Scott, our wonderful customer who we love, love, love. We love all of our customers. Steele is wonderful. He made the cutest restructure pancake video in the whole wide world, and he put his Labrador in it. And if you want to see it, it's on our YouTube channel, and I love him. He said, you said that Renew has 25% of RNA drops, but it's 25 times concentrate. And you're right, it's 25 times concentrated RNA drops. So thank you for clearing that up. I take other supplements when I need to stop these to take the RnA ReSet Drops. I'm only taking Remag right now. I tried Remite, but could not get a low enough dose. Okay, you can take RnA ReSet Drops with any of our formulas and with any formula. You can take them with anything. They are not uncompatible or contradicted for anything. You don't have to stop anything. You don't have to change anything. You just throw them in the mix and see what kind of cool stuff happens. Just expect cool stuff to happen, because cool stuff will happen. Can I use the RnA drops or the Renew serum in or on my eyes to help with cataracts? I am seriously trying to avoid surgery and already followed this protocol, but maybe the drops could help. Carolyn?
Well, we're just, we've labeled RnA ReSet Drops for oral use, so we can't tell you to use them off label. But personally, I could say that I put 1 drop of RnA ReSet Drops in a eye cup with saline water in it. I just get non-preservative contact lens saline solution, squirt that in an eye cup, put in 1 drop of RnA ReSet Drops, and rinse my both eyes out a couple times a day. Once when I was doing that every day for a while, it sort of stirred up too much. I started to get a lot of discharge. Now, maybe that's a good thing, but I decided just to do it once or twice a week. Cataracts, what's interesting about cataracts and cataract surgery is they've really perfected it so much that if a person is having a bad time with a cataract, I don't think surgery is such a bad thing. And I don't like to be in a position where people say to me, well, I'm going to stop all my drugs and take your products. That's why we tell you constantly, keep taking everything and just start our products as you feel better. Work with your doctor to wean off your drugs. And also think about weaning off your dozens of supplements, because what I'm finding is people's progress is being impeded because they're on too many other supplements. And it's either the binders and fillers in the supplements or the antioxidant effects are too much for the body. The body works on a process of oxidation. It uses oxygen to create biochemical reactions. And if you're antioxidating your oxygen all the time, then how are your biochemical process going to proceed? And it's just a theory I have. I can't prove it. I don't know if people will kind of attack me because I'm sort of telling people not to take their supplements, but we are finding more and more evidence from people who are doing great on our products for 6 months, and then they say, well, I'm not so good. And we say, tell us exactly what you're doing. And these are the folks that are on a dozen supplements. And we say, well, if you've been taking them all along, but you claim that you've been getting better since our products, then why are you taking these other supplements? And usually it's because of the incredible marketing of these products that people say, if you don't take these, you'll be sick. You have to take these things. You're just buying their words. You're not buying the effectiveness of a product. So that's a constant rant that I've been on lately. Sorry, I got off topic.
No, that's all right. I just want to say a couple more things. First of all, the drops have a 2-year shelf life when you keep them refrigerated. So yes, they will stay fresh. And somebody wrote, do the drops ever go on sale? And the good news is that yes, today, for the very first time in the whole time we've been doing this, we are putting the RnA drop sale on sale, 30% off for a 4 or 5 day window through the beginning of next week. All of them are up on the website, all the new pretty boxes and the pretty bottles. And you will go, when you go to the slide that Chad has here, rnareset.com/RNA-gifts, you'll get your code that you can use to order your drops at a discount. It's the only time we've ever done it, but it's super, super fun to do. And well, I think we did the minis a little while ago, but not the big size bottles. So you've got a great opportunity there to try them if you choose. And they are available now. We held them off until this webinar to be able to get everybody going in the right way. Let me also just say that sorry if you said this, is the RnA Reset replacing the RnA? If so, what will happen to the Total Body Reset Pack? No, the RnA Reset Drops are the same with a different name and labeling. We're rebranding them for their next elevation of strength and power. They belong in the Total Body Reset package, just like they always have. And they will go with the remag, the remite, the restructure, and the realign. So everything's still intact. It's just that we wanted to pay special attention to them right now at the 144th generation. And we wanted to reintroduce them to the public with our farm experiment and our other documentation that we can offer at this time, along with a sale. So you have an opportunity to use them if you've not chosen to purchase them before. Okay, let's see. And Evans typed in and said, I've only been using Remag and Remite for 6 months and I reduced my sugar intake. I saw my optometrist today and it is the first time in 45 years he has seen a cataract reduced. Wow.
Awesome. Excellent.
Awesome. That is awesome. Awesome.
So what that means, Ginny, let me just say, what that means is your cataract was perhaps mostly calcification, and the magnesium mostly our ReMag will dissolve calcium and put it where it should go, which is in your bones and teeth and not in your eyeballs.
Right, absolutely. And let me just say, somebody typed in and said, I live in Canada and some health practitioners tell me your magnesium is just like the one we buy at the store. And, you know, those things just make me giggle so hard. Because that's like saying, you know, I went down to the local used car lot and they told me that the Pinto that I'm going to buy from them is the same as the Lamborghini my neighbor has down the street. Not even close. Not even close. Not at all. ReMag is the Lamborghini of magnesium. Can't be compared to anything. Cannot be.
It's a stabilized ion of magnesium that jumps into your cells. It just, that's what it's built to do. Whereas all the other magnesiums are magnesium compounds that have to be broken down the body. They have to fight to find a place in the cells. So it is a whole different world. And this is something that doctors never learned about because we've invented it. So that's why we're so big on educating people about what we've invented.
Now, listen, if you, so you've got the free gifts page, you can go there to obtain your discount. Let me just also say, whatever special offer things, let's make sure I'm at the end chat of our slides. Am I at the end? I think maybe. Oh, just our resources that you've got 8 free books under the books at drcarolyndeanlive.com. AFib, thyroid, you've got all kinds of good stuff. ReMag, ReMite. You've got all kinds of information. We have a ton of webinars on YouTube. We did a webinar a month, every month this year. We're proud of Dr. Dean's educational component. She is a tremendous teacher. She makes everything very simple. She addresses the most important things that's on people's mind, and she does it very clearly, and then she gives you a very practical solution. All those webinars, feel free to review them. On drcarolyndean.com is Carolyn's blog. She writes about topics all the time that are important to everybody and the what's happening now kind of things. And then we've got our radio show on Monday evenings, drcarolyndeanlive.com. I mean, you whip all this and our formulas into a magical opportunity for yourself, and you get yourself flying high, feeling good, feeling great. And just being all about life and living and joy and happiness. That's what we've all done. That's what we recommend. That's what we'd like you to do. And that's why we're giving these incentives such as 30% off on the RnA ReSet Drops today. So many blessings and so much love woven out this chat line for you, Carolyn. People love you so much. They know how important you are to them. You've made a huge difference in their life. You've made a huge difference with their health. Your wisdom is beyond, I mean, anything that I've ever encountered. And most doctors are not able to talk as fluidly about so many things. They specialize, they get stuck on a single topic, but you really have mastered not only the body, but the mind and the emotions in just ways that are just fantastic. If you have any questions for Dr. Dean, she is available 24 hours a day via email at support, SUPPORT, at RnAReset.com. Hop off the computer, jump on your email and write her a note and say, hey, I listened to your webinar and here's a question I have for you. So that's where we're at. Thank you everybody for listening. And thank you again, Carolyn, for just being the most amazing person and just such a joy.
Oh, and ditto right back at you, Ginny. I couldn't do it without you. And Bob is always enthusing about how Ginny is the perfect person for us to be working with. So I totally appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you.
And Chadley.
Oh, Chadley, we just want to squeeze him, but he's living on a whole different continent.
No squeezing Chad right now. All right. Thank you, everybody. And we love our customers and we love everybody. And we just hope the best for you, best of health, best of joy, best of love. And again, email us with any questions you have. Support at RnAReset.com.
Aloha.
Aloha.